And you can move it in or out, whatever strikes your fancy.
Everybody brought food and toys and things like that. That's really nice. We'll be taking those and giving those out to a lot of folks that'll be really appreciative to have those wonderful little items. Some of them don't have any money, or if they do, it's very little. So it's a wonderful thing, and Christmas is such a wonderful time of year. Here we have a fantastic activist that has brought this country together, starting with California. And I have to tell you, he can say it better in his own words, but we thank Arthur so much for helping overturn sanctuary state. And I mean, that is a fantastic accomplishment. You can just stop and go to his website and see what he was up against. And he stood like a brick, like a tall mountain of brick, and said, no, you're not going to do this.
He was a wrecking ball.
That's a wrecking ball. And we're very proud. Let me give the microphone over to Arthur Sharp.
You got it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Jackie. You know, when I knew that, Don had told me about how Monterey County was going to have an end-of-the-year Christmas party, I knew I wanted to be here. I am so glad to know and have worked with so many of you. I am really pleased about this. You're in such a deep, hostile territory, let me put it mildly. And the fact that you're here and you're fighting, it was great to work with you going to the Board of Supervisors earlier this year. I understood that was the first time that the media actually paid attention to you and everything that you've been facing and dealing with, and I'm glad that I could be there to help with that. Yeah. And yes, indeed, that was part of the fight against Senate Bill 54, against this perverse sanctuary state law. And as Jackie was referring to, we had a court finally in Orange County that struck down the law for all the charter cities in the state of California. Sometimes, we think that the courts, whether federal or state, are against us, and we see how hostile they are, but they're mostly in San Francisco, right? You know, the ones that are striking down the president's lawful executive authority, whether it's the travel ban or overturning DACA. But now I really appreciate that Jose was able to make that announcement about Obamacare being struck down in a Texas court. So that's what we should start doing. Just help out those attorneys in the federal courts there in Texas and start attacking everything. We'll probably get exactly what we want.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad to hear about this new California movement. I'm glad to see it's picking up steam. You know, it'd be nice to finally live in a state that is respecting our rights rather than the privileges and entitlements of illegal aliens, public sector workers, and welfare queens.
Amen.
Yep.
So this fight against sanctuary state enabled me to meet with so many people. And then that opened up a new chapter. I am now the organization director for an international pro-family group called Mass Resistance. Based on Massachusetts, it was in that state, the Bay State, where the gay marriage decision had been first shoved down the rights and the views of the citizenry in that state. They tried to do an initiative to overturn it. And from there, this travesty attacking every pro-family group or value has gone on ever since. That's another issue that was really near and dear to my heart. The attack on our First as well as our Second Amendments is rife, very serious. And just to explain, even in California, as oppressive as Sacramento may be, we have a federal system and judiciary that keeps it in line. I was talking to somebody earlier. Sacramento Democrats wanted to tax our text messages. Yeah. But the good news is that the Federal Communications Commission had a meeting on Wednesday and made it very clear to California, no, you may not.
All right.
Okay, full stop. Not going to happen. The same is also true when they tried to pass net neutrality. There were members of our legislature that said, you can't do this. This is a violation of, the separation of powers. That's a federal domain. The state can't set up its own net neutrality operation. And in fact, that was also struck down. They had to make a deal so that Jerry Brown could save face. They sign off on it to please their progressive base, but then in reality, it's been neutralized. Because otherwise it would be a massive lawsuit. Another lawsuit the state of California would lose. And I'm sure this state's Democratic progressive tyranny is going to be losing a lot more lawsuits in the year to come. So keep that in mind. Going back to mass resistance. meeting with the team here in Monterey County, as well as activists now in Santa Clara County, working with people also in Imperial County, working with the Inland Empire, even all the way up to Modoc. I've worked with, connected with the State of Jefferson team, so I was able to build up contacts there. All the stuff that I did with Sanctuary State opened up a network to so many wonderful people. Why this came into play and how it connects with mass resistance. There was another insidious bill, AB 2943. And out of the mouths of many legal minds, they said if this bill became law, it would have banned the Bible. The specific target, however, was reparative therapy. Individuals who struggle with same-sex attraction or gender dysphoria. But of course, the pretext was to attack First Amendment rights entirely. And if this bill had passed, that's what would have happened. And I know that I spoke with many of you in this room, as well as people in Southern California, and we hammered every legislator we could. And at the last minute, the author of this bill, Evan Lowe, announced to the public through an interview with LA Times that he was going to pull the bill. That absolutely deserves a round of applause, and you were part of that. Because many sources had told me, there's no way, Arthur, that this bill is going to be stopped in the legislature. It's going to pass. It passed once. They amended it a little bit to try to allay people's fears. It was going to go to the governor's desk. Many pro-family groups were just going to the governor. And I said, it hasn't even passed the legislature yet. Let's keep fighting. You were part of that fight, and we were able to stop that thing at the last minute. That is something that deserves a round of applause. And so, that's been my mission ever since. Not just here, but we stopped the reparative therapy ban, the attempt in Massachusetts, a very deep blue state as well. We really do have the power, in spite of how badly our opposition parties may be in the state of California or anywhere else in the union. With that, before I turn the mic over to the next speaker, I want to say that I haven't stopped fighting this fight. I went after Evan Lowe again yesterday. He had a Christmas party of his own. So let him pay for my dinner and let me go after him. Again, I made it clear to him, to his staffers, we have not gone asleep. Because that's been the problem, I think, the biggest problem with a lot of activism in the state of California, with the churches, with other groups. They have a victory and then they kind of go dormant again. And I realized that this time, no matter what the election outcomes would have been after November, we needed to make it clear to Sacramento, we're not asleep. We're aware of the larger game at play. I went to Evan Lowe. This time he couldn't run away from me. Twice before he had fled from me every time I tried to meet with him. But an assemblyman's not going to run away from his own Christmas party, right? So he had to stay. I said very clearly, you have no right attacking our First Amendment rights. You have no right to try and ban the Bible. His staffers tried to downplay that, but we all know the truth. And the two institutions I've worked with, Pacific Justice Institute, Liberty Counsel, I made it very clear to Evan Lowe, they will file a lawsuit if you even attempt to introduce this bill a second time. And I can't stress how important this is. Our fight for the First Amendment is absolutely crucial. You may think that the freedom of speech is safe, sacrosanct in the Western world. I will tell you now, it's not. Mass resistance, we opened a chapter in Canada, and there is a Christian activist named Bill Wacott. He is facing, as of now, 2 criminal trials and a $100 million civil class action lawsuit. Why? For passing out gospel tracts in gay pride parades. Passing out a tract in a gay pride parade. And he's now facing a massive civil rights class action lawsuit and 2 criminal trials. If you don't believe me, visit our website, massresistance.org. This fight is real. And you'll be seeing more information about this from me and from others. If you haven't signed up for our newsletters, please do. I can give you more information about this, but I can't stress this enough. What we're fighting for is absolutely essential. And it's a very real threat, and we have it right now on our borders. With that, let us rejoice in our victories. Let us prepare for the next fight, and let's have a wonderful Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for having me.
So much,
Did it record?
It sure